Folks, I think we're all on the same page here. It's time to go Goblin mode! I was so ready to go to bed tonight. I had my little nightcap on, I had my long flowing pajamas, I had my little candle that I light up to get my way over to the bedroom so I could have a nice honk shoe, honk shoe, honk shoe. And then this shows up in my feed, and I had to rush over here and talk about it. We have a new Phantom Nightmares archetype, the Goblin Riders, and I am super excited. For anyone who knows me outside of this, goblins are basically my favorite fantasy race, and I take every opportunity I can to play Plunder Patrols, who are, despite the name, also goblins. Looking forward to seeing what we've got in here. Let's take a look at this new archetype, starting with Goblin Rider Doug the Assaulter. Oh, they have little names and everything. Big, delicious Dark Scorpion energy right there. Level 3 Earth Warrior monster. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. If this card is in your hand, you can detach an Xyz material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card, so both you or your opponent. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Goblin Rider spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Excellent start. Shows off that we're going to be doing Xyz summoning, and while they are not level 4 Earth Warriors, they are level 3s, so more potential MX Saber Invoker unbanning in the future, maybe? Okay, so sweet start, but we'll see where those spells and traps take us. Goblin Rider Clutter the Noisy. That's awesome. I need to see this really quickly. Okay, not a lot of detail, but the name is cute. Level 3, Beast Warrior Fire. Okay, so we're already diversifying the attribute and type, but the level is still 3, so that's good. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can use 1 and 2 effect, once per turn each, 1500 attack, 0 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target a goblin monster in your graveyard, except a copy of this card and special summon it. So this works with all goblins. So get your goblin attack forces and your royal goblin attack forces out of storage, because they're about to be very relevant. Or they won't be. It is really old cards. During your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, as a quick effect, you can detach an Xyz material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Of course, if we overlay with it, though, we don't have to worry about the banishing clause. So we have more extenders on that. That's pretty nifty. I like that it... target a goblin monster in graveyard, special summon. So it can summon the other ones, and that makes an easy rank 3, and then you can also bring it back. And that will trigger its first effect to get another goblin when it's summoned. Well, that just seems to work out perfectly. Infinite Xyz monsters. Goblin Rider Boon the Mock Speed. A level 3 Wind Warrior monster that is itself just driving a creature. Like this, we are not using a machine. We just have a whole giant mecha cat. During the main phase, this 1300 attack monster level 3, during the main phase, if this card is in your hand or graveyard as a quick effect, you cannot special summon Goblin Rider Boon the Mock Speed until the end of the next turn. Also detach an Xyz material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card. Okay, so you can do the summon effect, and then you're locked out of specialing it during the end of the next turn. It is a quick effect, so it could be used during either player's turn. So it's got like a Mirror Jade thing, except it checks for the name of the monster, not that particular copy of it. So, okay, so you just have another quick way to summon, more detaching of Xyz material. That's not terrible. Probably going to be relegated to extender purposes. Goblin Rider Mionda the Cold-Blooded. Excuse me? Okay, I can barely make out, but I see giant mouse ears, and that's pretty cool. Oh, they're riding a snake. All right. Level 3, Water. This one's a Fiend. So we've got 2 warriors, a Beast Warrior, and a Fiend. And they're all different attributes. What is going on here? If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon a goblin monster from your hand, so it's also a marauding captain type deal. If this card is in your graveyard, you can attach a Xyz material from a monster on the field. And if you do special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Okay, so a lot of them have that effect. Not Doug the Assaulter, but Clutter can do it. Boon the Mock Speed can do it sometimes, and Mionda can also do it. So we have a lot of free level 3 material that does not cause us to go under any kind of lock. So that's a pretty good start. Goblin Rider Big Head Gabonga. What's going on here? They're riding a mandrill? Is that supposed to be like a monkey or a lion? That's nifty. Oh my god. Okay, rank 3. Light Xyz Beast Warrior monster requiring 2 level 3 monsters as material. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can add a Goblin monster. Complete Goblin access, folks. We are unlocking the Goblins. If an Xyz material is detached from monsters on the field, you can target one other face-up monster on the field and attach it to this card as material. And during your end phase, you can attach a Goblin monster from your deck to this card as material. That's fantastic. I don't know what to tell you. So we make it using any level 3s that we have on hand. So Tour Guide technically works here with Mionda. And then you make this. You get to search another Goblin, so you have access to any of those that we have. Especially Boon the Mock Speed is probably one of the better ones, because that one can actually do the summon from hand, which is pretty neat. And then it doesn't have its own detach effect, but anytime a material from anything is detached, you get to scoop up another face-up monster. So if you do the quick effect detach to summon one of your Goblins, Gabonga scoops up an opponent's monster. And then during the end phase, you attach a Goblin, which by itself doesn't really get it into rotation, but if you detach it with another Goblin, you've effectively searched one and gotten into the graveyard to do all of its stuff. Okay. Now, that's not like a... This is more of an enabler than anything else. It's gets your cards into rotation, but with 2100, it's not doing a lot. So hopefully, Goblin's Crazy Beast, presumably related to the DD Crazy Beast in some way. It doesn't look the same, but it does have that feral energy to it. Dark Fiend Xyz monster, rank 6, 2700 attack and 0 defense, requiring 2 or more level 6 monsters as material. You can only use the third effect of this card once per duel. Okay. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target one spell or trap card on the field, detach 2 Xyz materials from monsters on the field in general, and if you do, attach that card to this card as material. So it's quick effect, spell, and trap removal, siphons from all Xyz monsters on the board, so it's a little more cost effective, and it gets it off the field. That's not bad. If a monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. It is monsters. Oh, this is Dingirsu. That's just a Dingirsu effect. Holy cow. If this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it, and then you can attach a Goblin monster from your graveyard to it as material. So once per duel, you get to get it back for free, so you have to deal with it twice. Granted, we don't have a way to summon it yet, but we'll see how our other cards, what our support cards will do for us here. Grand Gathering of the Goblin Riders, a continuous spell card. What's going on here? What? I cannot wait for the higher quality art on these. I cannot deal with wait a sec. Oh, this is in the Diabellstar lore. There's the wanted poster. These are, are they the ones that are going to be going after Diabellstar? I was saying previously that we were going to see people going after Diabell for her going around taking the sinful spoils. The Goblins? She's going to be chased after This is the perfect story. This is the perfect story, folks. I can't believe this. Okay. You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. While on the field, Goblin monsters you control gain 300 attack for each Goblin monster you control. So it's 300 for each you have. That gets dangerous. That is a dangerous kind of boost. And starting at 300 gets wild. Because now if you have 2 Goblins, each of them are getting 600. So you've effectively turned a 300 point boost to one monster to a total of 1200 across 2 monsters. If you get a third one, that's 900 each, that's 2700. So we are looking at a very aggressive deck. During your main phase, you can normal summon, you can get an additional Goblin normal summon. And third, the once per turn effect, you can target a Goblin monster you control that has a level to activate one of these effects. The level of one of them becomes the level of the other, or their original levels become their total original levels. Okay, so there we go. That's how we make Crazy Beast is what we're calling it. Yeah, Goblin's Crazy Beast. You take 2 level 3s, you combine them together. Their total original levels would be 6, so you overlay those, you make Crazy Beast. Or you make the match levels if we are playing the Goblin Attack Force monsters. I don't know why they're going through such pains to allow goblins to be here, but this does mean we can access rank 4s as well, so we have a lot of good Xyz options here. Grand entrance of the Goblin Riders, and there she is. There's Diabelle right there. Further confirmation, and they are... She looks so mad. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we're getting... I'm sorry. Okay. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. It's a normal spell card. You activate it, add a goblin monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can detach an Xyz material from any monster on the field, and if you do, special summon a level 4 or lower goblin monster from your hand. So, at worst, it's a Rhoda. At best, you can shred an Xyz material off of something, maybe even your own monster, because our Goblin is going to love that. You get to summon that goblin out of your hand, and then you can banish this card from the graveyard to detach an Xyz material from a monster on the field, and then you can add a goblin from your grave to your hand. Great utility card. Very, very hard to add anything to that. It's just solid. Searches you, summons, recurs you cards. Alright, last Goblin card. You can only use the first... You can only use one of the first and second effect of this card per turn and only once per turn. So we have a mutually exclusive effect here. Goblin Rider Stampede, continuous trap card. During the main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon using only Goblin monsters you control as material. That's going to be really important in just a second. If you control a Goblin Xyz monster, you can target one effect monster on the field, detach an Xyz material from a monster on the field, and if you do, negate that target's effects until the end of the turn. That's even better. It's a shame that you can only use one per turn, so I think you would generally keep it on hold for the monster effect negation, and then during a turn in which you don't need it, you can do the free Xyz summon. But we have all those quick effect ones that allow to summon those goblins out of our graveyard, and some are only during our opponent's turn. So what we can do with this is we can immediately overlay them into an Xyz monster so that they no longer get banished. We can keep them in rotation. And the best part here is that it keeps the material that we use only to be goblins, but we can make any Xyz monster we want. Any rank 3 monster is within our grasp with this card at a moment's notice. I don't think there are any level 3s that you want to just drop onto the field out of nowhere, but it is nice to be able to have something like that. If you control a Goblin Xyz monster, yeah, so you just take the Goblin Xyz material, detach. Heck, this pulls double duty because if you have Gabonga, if you have Gabonga, you negate something, and if you haven't used the absorbing effect, that triggers it, and then you either take the monster you negated, or take a different monster that's a threat. This is... wow. Okay, so, initial thoughts. Do I think the deck is crazy? I don't know if it's crazy. I don't know if it's... I mean, it's crazy beast, but I don't know if this deck is off of the charts here. It obviously has a very strong resource engine, and I'm a big fan of rank 3 Xyz decks. Let me tell you, as a dyed-in-the-wool Burning Abyss stan, seeing something like this makes my heart sing. But it's got some really, really good effects here. Gabonga is going to continuously get Xyz material, so we are going to keep having a source to detach from, and then we can use the monsters that we turn into, the monsters that we bring back by consuming that Xyz material into their own Xyz monsters, who in turn we can feed Xyz material off of. I'm wondering what deck we can pair this with. Maybe at some point they'll be their own deck, but I feel their card pool is a little thin right now, as with most releases. But the fact that they have the whole spectrum of attributes, like all the main deck ones are the elemental attributes, while Light and Dark takes up the extra deck. And we have things like Beast Warriors, Fiends, and just Warriors. So I'm sure there's something. I could definitely see some kind of Punk Goblin deck. And if I get to play a deck called Punk Goblin, I'm gonna be so annoying about it. I will never stop playing Punk Goblin. You hear me? This is getting dangerously close to Brandon on the list of decks I'm going to go hard for. Just you wait. But with 3 E-Tellies being available, that's free level 3 monsters. You can pivot between your Synchro Fusion game plan with the Punks, or you can feed those tuners into your Goblins. With all these level 3 non-tuners, that's access to level 6 Synchro monsters. The sky's the limit here, and I am losing my mind over this. These are great. They're really cool. They have a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes in the future. And now that I'm seeing more of it, it looks like it is not unique that some of them are riding animals. These are actually all animals that they are riding. This is fantastic. It's the perfect archetype. No notes. Speaking of archetypes, though, I was looking and I did see that we had another couple of cards for Diabellstar that showed up while I was getting ready. Did not expect that. The Snake Eye support. And like I was saying, she's collecting the sinful spoils, and now they are being converted into other creatures. So we saw that the other two, Lucia and Sylvia, I remember these things. Lucia and Sylvia are integrated into her body. This one seems a bit more independent, but we'll see if that changes over time. We've got a new Snake Eye monster, Populous. Now, I did posit that we'd be seeing another Snake Eye monster based on the lore that it was based on. But of course, you know, they're going to make new monsters. It's a new archetypal support. That's not really, you know, taking a shot in the dark here. Trees in its genus include the poplar, aspen, and cottonwood. Okay, so, because they're poplars. So that would, I believe, cover the 3 kinds of trees as previously, which might not be what I had anticipated in the actual Snake Eye video, where there was a fourth, there was a daughter among the sons that were turned into serpents. So I think we might still be in room for one more of them, but I don't have the information in front of me right now, so I couldn't tell you. Lore aside, wouldn't be a big Nova video if I didn't get too caught up on the lore aspect. Snake Eyes Populous, level 1 fire, pyro effect monster, 700 attack, 200 defense. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name once per turn each. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it. Bonfire just got that much better. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Snake Eye spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, so it also searches you your Snake Eye cards. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a fire monster in your graveyard and place it face up in its owner spell and trap zone as a continuous spell card. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like a really easy way to get Flamberge into rotation without having to spend anything. You just put it in there, and then you pop it out with one of your Snake Eye effects. Maybe Flamberge is the only one that does that. I forget off the top of my head. There's that, and there's one more thing that does that. I think it's the field spell. So that sets that up to be summoned if you don't have any other way to do that. So it's a pretty good inclusion, I'm not going to lie. And it's a great thing to summon off of your other Snake Eye effects. This one does not have the same... It's not part of the chain of summons you can do with the earlier ones, but this makes for a great capstone on that. Also, it looks like the eye has, like, cooled down a lot. It's not filled with all those, like, blue flames. Those appear to be all around this. Oh, and there's a little dossier behind it. That's pretty cute. Okay, and then there's Snake Eye Dramatic Chase. What is going on? Oh, okay, so this is in the middle of the battle. It looks like Populous is escaping or being kidnapped by one of the goblins, and she... Despot, can we get an enhance on this? Can we get a little enhancement? Boop, 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 boop. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Those goblins are, they're not gonna have a good day. They are in for a very bad time. Okay, and this is a Sinful Spoil card. No, it's another Snake Eye card. I don't even see what it did. I don't even know what it does yet. Quick play spell card. You can only use the 1 and 2 effect of this card's name once per turn. You can place a Diabellstar monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in its owner spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell card, so that puts it there for us to revive with our Snake Eye cards. During the end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a monster card treated as a continuous spell card, and special summon it. So that's like a delayed Diabellstar summon. Like, you do this during your opponent's turn, activate Dramatic Chase at some point, you get the Diabellstar, and then during the end phase, you banish the Dramatic Chase, summon the Diabell. You didn't have to send any card. I guess the Dramatic Chase might count as the card you would send for the effect. But now, instead of just Hunter Fiend grabbing Diabellstar out of your hand and having to discard a card, Dramatic Chase is a little slower, but you get the search with only having to spend that. So it means that it works better with decks that maybe don't want to use the discard. I don't know a deck like that exists. I'm perfectly fine playing Diabellstar in decks that need a discard outlet. Trading in for a 2,500 point monster that has a little bit of a skill drain, not a skill drain, breakthrough skill for anything tapped onto it. But we'll see how this helps to cycle through other archetypes. Maybe this will mean Diabellstar will work better in Snake Eyes, even though I'm pretty sure it was already pretty good. Maybe it'll allow it to work better in other decks that otherwise we don't know about. Either way, I think these cards here are pretty solid. Let's go ahead and give this one more re-roll just in case. Okay, so maybe that's it for tonight. We'll see. I'm not gonna hold my breath on this one, but you never know with these social media types. They're always dropping things. I guess it's inconvenient for us because of the time difference. For them, I'm sure it's just another wonderful day. Folks, thank you all so much for joining me on this one. I'm looking forward to seeing goblins in this game, potentially being very, very good. I'm gonna play goblins so much. What do you guys think, though? Maybe there's something that I'm missing. I am, of course, on a high, seeing my wonderful little fuzzy babies in the game doing some really cool stuff, but maybe you've thought about it more. Maybe you have a more dispassionate take on going Goblin mode, which, of course, is not going Goblin mode, but we still appreciate your insights anyway. Drop it down below. Hit the little buttons, because I know you like hitting those buttons. I know it makes you feel good when you see the little thumbs up thing happening. It's more for you than for me, but, you know, helps me out a bit, too. Thank you all so much, and I'll see all you next time for the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Card reveal. Bye-bye. Today's episode was brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. When you want to protect your cards with the power of dragon scales, get some sweet lore for them, and support the channel, check out my link in the description to get started. Today's episode is also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander Frankie, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Andrew Newman, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Danny Bound, Dark Dragon X830, Eric, Aaron the World Breaker, Garland Chaos, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Howling Zangetsu, Hydrocraft 135, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Picata, Megacombi, Millennia Asta, Molly Renata, Nathan Vig, Natiel Lee Alexander, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sammy Haim, Sir Knight JCB, Skybuster Leo, The Wizard Moose, URTV 667 and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders Almento 5010, A Random Pup, Ariel Kersey, Beluga Masta, Blue Gem, Chaz Ghost, Corbinisms, Drachenwald, Drake and SpongeBob be like you used to call me on your cell phone, Dripfed Tar, Eki Bullock, Emily, Eva Padilla, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Inblink, Jester Designs, Kale the Dragon, Carp, Kendall Wishmeyer, Kevon Public, King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lemon Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lord Whoop-De-Doo, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, Michael Shimabukuro, Nitromo, Shizuki Nijimura, Sophie, apparently, Stephen Williamson, Taylor Seymour, The Legendary Raven, Tucker Ordorn, Venusian Teapot, and Zaldreka, as well as the lovely Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my quest to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, watch my videos early, participate in monthly custom card reviews, and be a part of these credits, I'd very much appreciate it if you checked out my link in the description and consider joining, as every pledge helps make the channel that much better and helps make all this a little more stable.